Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Aman's Unfiltered. I'm just going to dive right in. Today's episode is called Somewhere I Belong. Because let's be honest, right? Belonging is pretty complicated, especially when your roots, your culture, your passport, your marriage, and daily life all exist in different countries. Now, our guest today is the co founder and regional director of Megatix. And he's Indian, born in the UK, grown up in Australia, and now he's settled in Thailand for nearly 11 years, married into a Thai Indian family right here in Bangkok. Now, he's lived cultural contrast most people only talk about. So today we're going to be unpacking identity, diaspora dynamics, community difference, cultural shocks, and the real question, do we ever fully belong anywhere or we create belonging wherever we go? So let's dive in. All right. Hi, Vin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to
Finally,
be
after
here. Yeah.
ages. How many times have we rescheduled for this
Yeah.
episode?
More than a handful. Sorry, my bad.
No worries. It's good busy, right?
Yeah,
So
good
how's
busy.
it going at Megatix?
Good. Yeah, we've expanded a lot. So my role has shifted from just taking care of Thailand to most of Asia. So we've launched in the
Right.
last year or two about 8 new countries,
Mm-hmm.
mostly around here. But I'm currently working on Philippines, Korea, and Japan, which will all be launched this year.
Nice. So you've been traveling a lot in the I think
Yeah,
the last 6 months.
yeah. Been spending on average 1 or 2 weekends a month in Bangkok, and then the rest of the time being away.
And you know who gets to hear the end of it, right?
I can imagine.
All right, let's dive in. So, I've introduced you to everybody out there already, and I'm going to be diving into some unfiltered questions and, be as open as you can.
Sure.
Okay?
If I go too far, you tell me.
Oh, this show is about going too far. We break that barrier.
Okay.
All right. So you've lived across cultures, right? You are Indian heritage, Australian upbringing, you were born in the UK, and now you're in Thailand. When someone asks you where you're from, how do you answer that
I
question?
love that question, and I have a well scripted answer. I said it depends which sport you're talking about. Right. So
Oh,
if
God.
yeah, if you're talking about cricket, I'm Indian.
Okay.
If you're talking about football, I'm English. Australia gets any other sport basically.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, growing up in Australia, what did being Indian mean to you?
Well, it was a big shock, right? You imagine going from Wolverhampton, England,
Yeah.
which is basically living in Punjab, right,
Yeah.
to move to Adelaide, which is the one of the smallest cities in Australia. I was the only Indian kid at the school.
Right.
The only Indian people we really knew were family and then like close family
Mm-hmm.
friends. So it was it was shocking at first. None of the kids there, none of the white kids knew what it meant to be Indian either. So I just fit in
Right.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And were there like a lot of prejudice behavior towards you?
Um, yeah, it's a good one. Growing up in Australia, people say like, "Oh, Australians are racist" and so on, and actually they're not. It's
Yeah.
a bit of ignorance, and kids they'll tease you because you're different. I'll give you
Yeah.
an example. The slur they used to use was curry muncher. All right, and a curry muncher, and you think, oh, it's not even offensive because nobody munches on curry, right? If anything, you
Yeah.
you slurping it, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I
Oh.
used to get. But it was okay. It became cool to be Indian. Like by the time I got into high school, well, at least cool to be brown skinned. Yeah,
More like cool to be different.
yeah, yeah,
Right? Because I,
yeah,
I don't think over there people were so used to the ethnicity of
yeah.
Indians.
Yeah, it
Like,
was the hip hop and R&B culture became
yeah.
really popular in the late '90s, right? Which is when I was like finishing high school.
Yeah.
So as long as you were listening to R&B music, I had dreadlocks in my hair braids,
I,
baggy jeans,
I
all
can't
that
imagine
stuff.
you in dreadlocks.
Yeah, yeah, I can dig up some photos.
Or you can give it to me. I can add it onto some slides over here on the show. Okay. So was there ever a phase where you felt not Indian enough for Indians and not Australian enough for Australia?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So the whole school thing, you're always a kind of outsider trying to fit in.
Right.
Yeah, and then you look at the social element, going out with like mom and dad and family friends or Indian
Yeah.
events and so on. Um, as we got older, there were a lot more immigrant families who were moving over, and I
Mm-hmm.
just found that a lot of the kids were just either better behaved than I was, or much better at lying to their parents. All right, so I was the kind of bad kid, and I wasn't that bad. All right,
Right.
I just told people the truth, or my parents knew the truth.
Right.
So that was difficult. So I couldn't fit in, with the good Indian kids. And as you know, I was working in nightlife. It was quite hilarious that how they behave in front of the parents,
Yeah.
and they're the same guys that were drunk at 9 p.m. trying to get into a nightclub, or that I would have to kick them out.
Right.
Right. So look, I always try to just be who I am, and I think
Mm.
in this world that's the most important thing you can do. But fitting into a community is difficult.
I
Yeah.
think that's everywhere,
Yeah.
especially when you live in a small city in a very close knit area in any particular part of
Definitely.
the country. It's
Yeah.
always hard to fit in initially. How did
Yeah.
your parents manage when they moved to Australia? How did they find?
My parents, they're pretty laid back in that sense, right? So they can meet someone for the first time and just kind of hit it off. And I think I've
Right.
kind of got it from them. We
Mm.
don't never feel kind of out of depths, or always ready to entertain and
Mm-hmm.
have people over, make new friends. So we had our Indian community friends there, plus we had family. But then we also had a lot of friends. Like, I mean, my parents invited my high school teachers over for dinner, all right? Or used to send butter chicken with me to,
Give my
to, to
son an A.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, they made friends with everybody.
Butter them up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was your biggest cultural shock when you moved to Thailand?
Oh, the Indian weddings, I would say.
That's
Yeah.
where he met his wife, by the
Yeah,
way, you
yeah, yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that's where I met my wife. But look, back in Australia, from the age of, let's say, 15 to 30, the
Yeah.
last thing you wanted to do was go to someone's Indian wedding, right? You would avoid it at all costs. Your parents would beg you, you have to come, all right? And
But now
then,
you're going every week,
yeah,
every
and then
month.
you come here and it's like going to a festival, right? That was a huge shock to me. I mean, the wedding where I met Kirit, right?
Yeah,
Um,
my friend's wedding.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's like 1,000 people there. So I'd never seen that before.
What was going on in your head? Like all these Indians in one
Well,
roof.
so I used to come to Thailand. First time I came here was 2006, 7. I came, and then almost every year, without fail, at some
Yeah.
point I came to Thailand. And I assumed that a lot of the Indian people I was seeing walking around here in Sukhumvit were tourists. All right, and it was only after I moved here and started living here and realized that actually these are all people
We live
from here.
here.
Yeah, from here. So yeah, that was kind of strange. And then just the vibe at a wedding, right? Normally in Australia by like 10, 11, most of the kids have left. Like if you're
Mm.
20 years old, right, you're gone. You had other things to do.
Yeah.
And here at 10, 11, people are still arriving. All right. And then the other thing was just the way they party. All
Yeah.
right. Like the Indian ladies in Australia. Some of them might drink, but it's very quietly in a corner and probably not even at a wedding.
Are you saying they're more sophisticated than us?
They don't party quite as hard. Yeah. Yeah, I mean here it's quite normal, right, for a wedding to go till like 4 or 5 a.m. Right? There's
Yeah, it's the
a
norm.
reception,
It's
sangeet, after party.
yeah.
So that was quite interesting. The other thing which I never knew before moving here was all the subgroups of Indians. All right, so in Australia, yes, we know like your Hindu Punjabi, your Sikh Punjabi. I had some Gujarati friends. All right, but then beyond that, that was about it. That were the only communities that I knew, or that really had a flag of their own identity. When you come here, there was all sorts that I'd never heard of before. The different color turbans. I didn't know that it meant anything. I thought it was just a fashion statement in Australia.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, for some of our friends, it is a fashion statement, but for
Yeah.
others, right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it represents which group they belong to.
So was that like so that was like it came to a shock to you,
Definitely.
and you've never heard of this
Never heard of it.
at all.
No. No.
Okay. So I guess I was gonna ask you like, what's the main difference between Indians here in Bangkok, in Thailand, and in Australia? So this would be your answer.
That's one of the major differences.
Yeah.
And I think another thing I've learned, and you can see the difference between, let's say, Indian community in like a bigger city like Sydney or Melbourne.
Right.
All right. So the Indians there could be like second, third generation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I find when Indians leave India and then they kind of settle somewhere else,
Right.
they hold on to those values much tighter than Indians who have, moved and migrated and just got on with the times.
Mm.
Right? Like if you go to, let's say, Wolverhampton, right?
Right.
You talk about fourth generation Punjabi families there
Yeah.
that still the men eat in one room, the women eat in another room, or all the women are in the kitchen, men finish eating, and the
Mm-mm-mm.
women go and eat. All right. The men
Yeah.
don't drink in the same room if the women are sitting there. Kids don't go in that room at all. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of stuff is still going on in certain communities. And look, I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's different. Um, but yeah, we didn't have much of that in Adelaide
Mm-hmm.
or Perth
Right.
because there the communities is quite small. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
now it's different, right? Now, I mean, I've been here 11 years. There's a lot of Indian people everywhere now in Australia.
Okay. So do you feel like Indians abroad are more Indian
Definitely.
than
Yeah.
Indian here in
Yeah.
Asia?
Yeah, because they just remember what it was like, when they left, and they just assume that it's all exactly the same.
But do you feel like because they have left their native countries, right? Like let's just say they're from either Pakistan or they're from India, to move to somewhere like the UK or the Australia or even the US, like do you think that they are trying to maintain their heritage?
Yeah, they're trying to maintain those values, the family life that they left behind,
Hmm.
and don't realize that that's probably already changed.
Do you think it's modern enough, or do you think it's wise to keep on going this way with the current situation around the world?
Yeah, as a parent now, it's interesting, right? Because
Right.
before having kids, you just think like, come on, guys, get with the times,
Yeah.
all right? But then as a parent now, I want to have a bit of a balance, right?
Right.
Because if you do just keep up with the times, right, you form this new culture that didn't exist
Mm.
before, or there will just be a lack of any culture.
Mm.
And I think in countries like Australia, it's more risky of happening because it's so multicultural,
Mm.
right? So if you're all trying to hold on to or trying to keep up with whatever the current trends are, you're going
Yeah.
to lose that culture and that history, which I don't want my kids to lose that.
Mm.
Like my first language was Punjabi. I didn't learn English until I went to school, and then moved to Australia. You slowly lose it because you just didn't need to use it anymore.
Also, that's so interesting. You learn Punjabi.
Yeah, I was fluent in Punjabi,
So you guys are Punjabis or you guys are Hindus?
Hindu Punjabi.
Hindu
Yeah,
Punjabis. Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, I learned English when I went to school. Yeah, I
Okay.
think language is a big one.
So in Australia, do Indians integrate more into mainstream society compared to Indians here?
I've only got a small lens on how they integrate here, right?
Right.
Because I've come here and as an adult working, and then also having my
I
own
think we've introduced
business.
you to enough, Vinod.
Yeah. All right. So having my own business, I have little interactions.
Right.
All right. And then the community that I'm part of here is also the Indian community. So
Right.
the Thai friends that I have are probably through work,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of contacts. So I don't get to see that as much here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if we as a community in Thailand, like the Thai Indian community, could adopt one thing from the Indian community in Australia, vice versa, what would it be? Or what should it be?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let me have a think about that one. One thing to adopt from there. Sports, super important. Now I'll tell you how this has impacted me. And this is probably how they integrate actually. So back to your previous question. How
Right.
how they integrate in Australia. Sports brings everyone together.
Right.
Right? Doesn't matter which culture, which community you're from.
Yeah.
Everybody loves sports and that's what you do, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get together, whether it's your kids' cricket game, football game, or you go into the pub to watch a game.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pillar of the community and the culture.
Okay.
After moving here, I didn't know many people,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean I know a lot of people now, but I still don't go out and watch much sports. Now it's probably a combination of also having kids, being busy with work,
Right.
but I think that is something once you are following a sports team or just following a sport in general,
Mm.
it breaks down a lot of barriers. It puts up a couple, right? If you
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's someone
yeah.
else's team,
Yeah.
but it breaks down a lot of other barriers. And I think here in the community, like I've rarely had anyone from our group of friends or extended community say like, hey, we're gonna go watch this game or we're gonna go and do that.
Right,
I know
right.
there's small pockets of people who probably watch it there, but
World
people,
Cup is coming.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
like when the World Cup's on, like all my French friends here, doesn't matter
Right.
what time of the day or night the football's on, right? They'll be
Mm.
at some pub
Right.
watching it. So I think that's something good. But look, this is probably going on. I'm probably just not invited.
You're not
Yeah,
invited,
yeah,
Vinod.
I'm sure it's happening.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Really, just sports?
Sports. What else could they pick up from the
Like
community
maybe a
there?
behavior or like, something that
Okay,
I
I'll
would.
give you one. I'll give you one.
Okay, there you
All right.
go.
Yeah, this is a good one. Um, in Australia, right? Now, this is
Right.
not just unique to Indians, but Australian culture in general. It's that, she'll be right, mate. Have you heard people say that? She'll be
No.
right. It just means like, it's okay, everything will be fine.
Okay.
Right? So someone will be, oh, I rolled my ankle or I've broke my leg, whatever. The response from the people around you is going to be, don't worry, you'll be fine. Get over it. Right?
Right.
Now, it could come across as slightly rude, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
grew up here. You'd be like, man, asshole, didn't even, offer any help or any empathy or
Right.
nothing like that. But actually, it's a way of just keeping people tough and keeping people moving along.
Mm.
All right. So if you're in a social environment in Australia and someone brought up some negative thing that happened to them, right? Like
Mm.
my maid did this. Well, actually, they don't have maids over there, so no one's whinging about that. All right. But let's say they have some bad news and someone's complaining about something. Most of your friends around that table will tell you to be quiet and get over it. It's not that big a problem. Deal with it and get on with it.
Mm.
What I find here is it's the opposite. If you say, this bad thing happened to me, everyone will go around the table and try to make a worse story than yours. So it kind of brings everybody down. All right. Like, oh, really? Your maid did this? Well, you won't believe what my maid did. Oh, your maid did that? Well, my
That
maid did this. Right. And for the next half an hour, just like one bad story after another.
that is so
Yeah.
true.
And somehow that makes people
Yeah.
feel better. Right. I don't know. As long as their story is the worst one.
Oh my God. You're right.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah. So I find that quite draining when those kind of conversations are happening.
Because it's always about negativity, right?
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
progressive conversation.
No.
It's not very intellectual.
Yeah, and I think like I mean, you do it with Kira and me and so on. Like we can give each other that honest feedback. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. It's not a big problem. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But in a larger social circle,
Yeah.
if you said something like that, you'd probably be the one that doesn't quite fit in.
Interesting. But that's true. I see it everywhere we go. We rarely hear like actually now in like probably our 40s, we're also very selective of who we want to really spend our time with.
Definitely.
Because the conversations we have, we want it raw, we want it real, we want it meaningful,
Yep.
and a lot of these settings, like you said, like it's always about, the funny thing is, it's not just the girls doing it anymore,
No, it's not. Yeah.
it's the men.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I've seen that switch in the last few years
Yeah.
because the men are talking about the maids, the men are now talking about the nannies.
Yeah.
I'm like, half the roles switched. Like, what just happened?
Yeah. You guys forced it on. It's all this equal opportunity stuff, isn't it?
So coming back to this conversation, right? Do you find that we as a community here in Bangkok are more silver spoon fed?
Oh, you're putting me in the hot seat.
Of
Yeah.
course I am. Of course I am.
Yes,
Because
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I think it's. I'm super proud of the success that our community here has had. Right, where you
you're
look at
being so
yeah,
politically
yeah,
correct in the
how long
beginning.
they've been here, and like to hear about Indian families owning businesses like hotels and so on.
Right.
Right,
Right.
here it's common. Right, in
Yeah.
Australia that would be rare.
Very rare.
Right, very rare because they're still quite new there. And I think that we had a lot of Indian families that have done well in Australia in farming, agriculture of some sense.
Yeah.
Those were the thriving industries back home. But here, they've done really well, and they're third, fourth, I think, I don't know, maybe fifth generation. But there's definitely a generation of kids. I don't know if it's ours or the one after ours that have probably had life a little bit too easy.
Too easy.
All right, and I think that that kind of adversity, it builds character. All right, and I think the other thing I see here now, which is it's a challenge, not for us yet. 'Cause the kids are still young, but if you've built these $1 million businesses
Right.
and made all this money, and now your kids are going to uni and graduating, and what job are they going to do? Are you going to bring them into your family business? Does that family business still exist, or what are you preparing them for?
So it comes down to a conversation of generational wealth,
Yeah, yeah, because
right?
I don't think it matters which degree you have. You're not going to get those times that they had in the 70s, 80s, 90s, building, the empires that
Yeah.
they did. Those opportunities are drying up now, I think.
Yeah, because okay, I know you've seen the difference like in Bangkok. Like a lot of the families depend a lot of on generational wealth.
Yeah.
And do you think that that is slowly depleting?
Must be, must be. There's no way that it's sustainable. I think you have certain kids, who've probably been raised a little bit differently, where being an entrepreneur has been encouraged from a young age, rather than the typical Indian mentality, which is, don't worry about it. I'm the man of the house. I'll make the money. You concentrate on study, all right? And those like concentrate on study, 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 and then all of a sudden they finish university, and now what are they going to do? Go get a job and get a salary of what, 40,000 if they're lucky,
Yeah.
40,000 baht,
Yeah.
which is gonna what doesn't even pay for what, right?
Mm.
So it's a tough one, and I think to navigate that, if you're an entrepreneurial family, you got to give those skills to those kids when they're young, because at the end,
Yeah.
that's their leg up, is having some capital.
Mm.
Whereas people go to university to study so they can build a career, but if you've already got that money and the kid's going to be torn, right? Why do I have to go get a job when you guys have all this cash? Why can't I
Yeah.
start my own business?
But that's already happening. Like you
Yeah,
see around you, all these kids are doing startups,
yeah,
right? And a lot of startups are amazing. They've gone really far. Kudos to those
yeah,
guys. But then that's the thing, right? When your parents, your grandparents have spent all these years building the legacy, and then you come in entitled,
yes, exactly.
right? So that's what we're talking about, like entitlement. Like, are you entitled to that entitlement
Yeah,
right away?
yeah, and I
Or
think
should the
it starts early,
parents,
right?
yeah, or should the parents like throw them into the real world, see what we've gone through to understand whether are you ready for this entitlement?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think for me in Australia, we kind of got the best of both, right? Like
Yeah.
my parents were strict when they needed to be, but then as I got older, they became quite liberal. But I'll give you an example. For my first car, my dad said, "How much ever money you save, I'll match it."
Yeah. You've
Right?
told me that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which that was motivating.
Very
Yeah,
motivating.
all right. So I did. I saved whatever I could,
Mm-hmm.
and he did. He matched it, right? And I got my first car, but it taught you how to save,
Correct.
all right? So I think like these families that you talk about, that the kids have got the startups. I think those parents have probably done a pretty good job, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
bestowing those skills. But I think for anyone who's got young kids and
Mm.
comes from a family business type background, you've really got to map out, what do
Mm.
you want these kids to be doing when they grow up? Because I think the opportunities are diminishing.
Yeah.
I mean, what they say, right? One door opens, one door closes, another one
I'm gonna,
opens, something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, there are opportunities in new segments, right, that didn't
Mm.
exist before, but they can't just lean on family expertise anymore, right? So
No.
if let's say it's textiles, right, and you've got a family who's working in textiles
Yeah.
for 3 generations, there's a wealth of knowledge there, right? But how do you translate that into an emerging segment like AI, for example,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So it's that entrepreneurial mindset, I think.
I think there are very few families here, or maybe I'm hoping there's more to my knowledge. Like, okay, there's our
Mm.
entire group. We're very, very independent, right? We don't
Yeah.
come from generational wealth. We are starting something. And I think we are having this conversation with one another, like, what's it going to be for our children?
Mm.
Are we going to be able to leave some sort of legacy?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have to like throw them into the new age world and be like,
Yeah.
yo, you guys need to figure this shit out?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, I mean,
Right?
we started on our own, 2 feet here. Everything we have, we
Yeah.
built on our own. Um, Now, I'll tell you what I told my parents. Right,
Mm.
my parents are of retirement age. They still haven't
Yeah.
retired. They're debt free,
Mm.
and I told them to retire. And I've told them to sell their other
Yeah.
houses and use the money for themselves, and don't need to leave me or my siblings anything.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And now they've finally, it's taken a few years, but they finally started doing it. They started selling off some assets, winding down, enjoy, and try to enjoy
Yeah.
life. I think something like that would be unheard of here. I mean, in Australia, we'd never heard anyone talk about inheritance. You would never talk about, what inheritance you're getting from your family. Here, it's just like, common dinner language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where I've corrected people. It's like you realize talking about inheritance, you're talking about the death of your parents.
Yeah.
Like, that's if you talk about being Indian, that is
Mm.
the least Indian thing you could be doing.
What's
Like,
their reaction to that?
Well, I'm the outsider, right? So they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Get lost.
I've also had, well, if you understood the amount of money that we're talking about, your opinion would be different. It's like,
Mm.
oh, okay. So your parents are that rich that you're waiting for them to die so you can get some of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if you look at how I plan to raise my own kids,
Mm.
of course, I'm building a nest egg for them. I started saving money for the kids in a separate bank account before they were
Mm-hmm.
born,
Yeah.
all right, which I keep adding to every year.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've got some certain stuff there that would be ready for them
Mm.
when they grow up,
Yeah.
if they deserve it. If they deserve it. And I think that is the most important thing. If your kids don't deserve it, get them to the age of 18. You've done your job as a parent, all right?
Oh my
Let them find
God.
their way.
Vikram Surya, if you read it, if you watch this in the future, Masi's got you,
They,
okay?
they, they know. They know what's coming. They better be good to me.
Oh my God. Okay, back to my topic. Um, which community is more progressive when it comes to marriage, careers, and gender roles?
Here or there, you
Yeah,
mean? Between Indians here?
between here,
Marriage, equality, gender
more
roles.
progressive.
Definitely Australia. Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
including gender roles.
Um, Nowadays, yes. Yeah. If you talk about like in the 90s, yeah, different. Because then
Mm.
you'd still have, only one person working.
Mm-hmm.
So the mom is the, stay at
Mm-hmm.
home mom, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, and the dad's out there working. Now, I think it's become a lot more balanced.
Right.
Um, Men cook, men clean, women cook and clean, women work.
Mm.
All right. It's more of a partnership.
Right.
I think here you got some X factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you talk about equality, all right, or opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
if you've been out of the workforce here for 10 years, let's say you were having kids, all right,
Yeah.
you might have given up a career, you've given up an education, but having that time away and then getting back into the workforce is very difficult here, all right?
Mm.
Whereas in Australia, I think it's a bit more accepting, it's quite normal, all right, that
Mm.
people take a break when they're raising families and then they come back. And I think there's a lot more of these kind of part-time roles, and a part-time role there. The salaries are still decent. I mean, you can
Over
have a
here is
yeah,
so
you can
bad.
work in a supermarket, all
Yeah.
right, and drive an Uber and provide well for your family. All right? I mean, a lot of
Mm.
people are doing it. Whereas if you're doing those kind of jobs here, it's pointless, right? It wouldn't be worth the traffic just to get to work and go home to go work
Right.
in a supermarket, right? What do you? Yeah.
Makes sense because okay, I was going to we went for dinner and okay, our group had a few drinks, so we thought, okay, let's just call a grab driver to be safe, right? We called a grab driver, and when he dropped me home, I was like pretty interested on the way, because I have a van, and not everybody can just pick up a van and drive it
Yeah.
smoothly like you do every day. So this guy was like, okay, he drove well and stuff, and I was looking for a driver at that time.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked him, like, I interviewed him there and then at 1 a.m. I said, I give you 2 days. Like, if you want to quit Grab, come be with me Monday to Friday. And you can even do your Grab on the weekends for extra cash, like, whatever. And you won't believe it. He hopped on the job right away. And he's been with me for almost 2 years. And
Yeah.
he used to grab, grab everywhere. And I asked him, I'm like, wouldn't you have been making more with them? Like, being a company like Grab, your benefits would be amazing, being a local Thai and all this, right?
Mm.
He's like, no.
Yeah. They don't make much.
Yeah, they're like, they don't make that much as you think. So, and he's
Mm.
like, it's not stable.
Yeah. So look, that's quite progressive of you. All right. I wouldn't say most people, most households wouldn't
Mm.
do that, right? They would never even thought about it.
Why?
They're like, oh, he's a Grab driver.
But it's a
He's not.
brilliant
Yeah. He's not
idea.
going to be dropping my kids off. He's driving Grabs. They all drink and get drunk, and that's all they do, right?
And the best part is, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke,
Yeah. Brilliant.
he's
Yeah.
punctual.
And even allowing him to work on the weekends for separate job. That's
Yeah.
also quite progressive. Though.
So I'm like, it's
Mm.
maybe it's a one in a
You should
thousand
go
or
and live
one
in
in a
Australia
hundred.
then.
Who, me or him?
You, because you're progressive, right? That's what we're talking about.
I don't know. I don't know if one of those will survive beyond this community, but I know I will survive. But yeah, but like even I've seen it because I'm not from here,
Mm,
right? I'm Malaysian born. I've lived there almost like my entire teenagers was there.
yeah,
I moved here when I was in my 20s. And
yeah, yeah,
I'm
completely different.
so different.
Yeah,
Even there, we do everything on our own. And when I
yeah.
came here, I'm seeing all my friends and everybody. I'm like, they can't even like boil mama. And I remember I went to my friend's house. I was making tea for my friend in her house.
Mm.
And she doesn't even know how to boil water. And she's telling me how to make her tea. And I'm like, shut up.
Oh my goodness, and no shame.
No shame. So, yeah, coming from both communities, I'm like, this is crazy. Silver spoon, golden spoon,
Yeah,
up your ass, in your mouth.
yeah,
I don't know what is wrong with you people.
yeah.
Gosh. Okay. Where do you feel most at home emotionally? Here or there?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, another tough one. Good, you're good at this.
I'm
Um,
good at this.
yeah. So Thailand is home now.
Of
Okay.
course,
Yeah,
we're all
Thailand
here.
is home. I do miss Australia,
Yeah.
right? Because my parents are there, my siblings are there.
Mm.
Here, I feel is great. The pace for work, the
Mm-hmm.
opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I get a new business opportunity on average once a week. Right?
Yeah.
Someone calls me about something.
Mm-hmm.
In Australia, I imagine that would be much less frequent. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But what I miss about there is also the slow pace of life. Right. When I go to visit family, we go and stay at my parents' house. My sister's house is a kilometer
Yeah.
away. All right. People just constantly in and out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You sleep wherever you want.
Yeah.
You know, there's always some food cooking. There's, it's just family time.
Mm-hmm.
And things go a lot slower, but it just means that you get these deeper moments. You know, that laughing and playing cards,
Mm.
or all standing around a barbecue
Yeah.
together. Whereas here, we are much busier, right?
Mm.
But I've said this to Kira, and I think I've probably said it to you. I have people here in our community that I've known for 10 years, right? That I don't really know them. And I've probably seen them 100 times.
Wow.
Because every time we see them, you see them for 10, 15 minutes. It's pretty much the same conversation you have again. There's that slow pace of life where you really get that deeper connection with people is kind of lacking here, right?
So you're saying there's not enough real meaningful
Yeah.
conversation
I
here.
mean, it's also a part of, you know, I don't make much effort, right? As you know, I have like our circle,
And
these
that's
few
it.
people, and that's it,
Yeah.
right? If I have to go out, I try to make it, for work, basically. There should be some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Should be some reason if I have to go, because a lot of my work takes me out anyway.
Yeah.
So, and it's also probably a part of growing up, right? Like when you're younger, you're going to spend a lot more time talking to people, getting to know them, and
Mm.
so on here. But I mean, if you had a 10 to 15 minutes conversation with someone here, let's say at a wedding, at a bar, or, in between functions at a wedding, it would
Right.
start with, what do you do for work? What's your family last name? Where do you live in Sukhumvit?
Family last
Yeah,
name.
yeah. Which school did you go to? And that's basically, it's like a job
That's it.
interview, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, you passed 3 out of the 4 questions. I'll give you another 5 minutes, and that's about it. So normally at the weddings and stuff here, you end up finding the people that have traveled from overseas, because everyone here has some friend from uni or some friend from
Yeah.
Australia, from England, and they're normally near the bar, which is
Yeah.
where I am. All right,
Of
and then you
course.
make friends with these people's friends who have come from overseas, and then you will have a great conversation with
Yeah.
them, right? You might talk about a bit of politics, a bit of history, whatever those conversations come up much better.
Hmm. Okay. Funny question.
Mm.
Do you and Kirat ever clash culturally? And if yes, what's the funniest argument you've ever had because of it?
Can I blink twice if I'm in trouble?
She's not here. You're in a safe spot. You see?
She
This is
listens.
a safe
She
spot.
listens.
I'll
Okay.
handle her.
All right. Clash culturally. Yeah. The first one is a cute one.
Okay.
So when we first started dating each other, she was like, why don't you get a maid to come clean the house?
Oh my God.
And I was like, it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And I lived by myself for most of my adult life. No, sorry, all my adult life, and a little bit even in my teens.
Was it the condo in 31?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And so I can clean, right? I can clean, and I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm proud of it, right?
Right,
I can
right,
do it
of
all.
course.
I even worked in housekeeping before in a
Yeah,
hotel when I
of
was
course.
17, right? So I can do it. I can make a bed in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Hotel standards,
Hotel
all right?
standard flip the
So yeah,
sheet.
yeah, and you kind of like your privacy, all right?
Yeah.
So the idea of having a maid come in part time to clean the house was like a no thanks. And she's like, "Are you sure I can organize it for you?" And I was like, "No, no, no." And this went on for a few weeks, and eventually it said yes. Then I always thought like, once we got married and had kids, like there would be no nanny and no this. But that's also naive, right? Because I just thought like that's the kind of life I had. That's what we're gonna have.
Right.
So that was probably the first one. But it's not a big clash, but just a different mindset. Yeah.
Okay. But I think that's everybody's thing from abroad, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone does things on their own. You would see your parents in the kitchen washing dishes, but actually over there you don't wash dishes. It goes into the dishwasher,
Well,
right?
if you're
So,
in an Indian house, they'll tell you don't waste the water.
oh my god, one of those.
Don't waste the water and the electricity.
Okay, that is not fun enough. Give me another argument that you've had, like a cultural difference.
Cultural difference. I need to think about it.
Something that you were used to in Australia, doing it all your life, and then it's the complete opposite here, and you had to wrap your head around it and come to
Oh,
terms
okay.
with
So
it.
one, okay, I like to have a drink. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I like to drink when it's hot, which is all the time in Bangkok.
So a cold chilled beer everywhere
Yeah.
you
All
go.
right. So,
Yeah.
you know,
That's a very
in
Vinod
Australia,
trade.
yeah, in Australia, it's during the spring and the summer.
Yeah.
All right. You enjoy the day drinking, right? In
Right,
June,
absolutely.
July, there's no way you're cracking open a beer at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Whereas
Mm.
here, you park the car and just walking upstairs, by the time you get up, you feel like you've earned a beer. All right. Or you go to some kid's birthday and the party's at 10 a.m. Right? And it's outdoor. And everyone's kind of standing around, and there's some beers and wines standing over in the corner. And I've got my eye on it, right? Because I'm feeling hot, and it feels like the right thing to do.
I can already
Yeah,
imagine Kiran's
yeah,
eyes.
yeah. Which is, it's not common here. Men are not
Yeah.
going and cracking a beer at 10:30 in the
No.
morning. All right,
No.
but I'm working on them, and as long as I open it first, a few others will. Yeah,
Okay.
because I don't drink to get drunk, right? That's a different thing. People drink to get drunk. They open a bottle of whiskey. They drink at night time after the kids have gone to bed.
It's like your version of sparkling water
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
midday.
I enjoy a drink, but like, have you seen me drunk?
Actually, to come think of it, never.
Yeah, I pace
Ever.
myself. Yeah, I don't drink too much. I
Yeah.
drink consistently, and I drink beer, which doesn't help the waistline, but it's probably better for the
No.
liver.
So how did Kirat have to wrap her head around this?
I don't think she still wrapped her head around it.
So you guys will argue about it.
Yeah, well, she doesn't argue, but she'll tell me like, don't be the
Stop
first
it.
one. Don't be the first one. So I normally go and pinch somebody. I say, hey,
Can you have a beer?
grab a beer, get me one while you're at it.
Nice one.
Yeah,
All right. How are you doing so far?
good, good, enjoyable.
Okay. Because it's coming to an end.
Okay.
Very good session. Okay. So, final question. If someone feels like they don't belong anywhere, okay, what would you tell them from your own life experience?
Mm. Yeah, look, I've moved around a lot, right? It's not just from moving countries. Even in Australia, I moved schools, I've moved
Mm.
careers. So you got to be comfortable, first of all, with who you are.
Mm.
And I think, people talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love yourself, be comfortable in your own skin and your own shoes and whatever. But probably people don't wait until they're too old to really understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So you've known me almost since I moved here,
Yeah.
right? And you will know it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, which environment I'm in.
Right.
I could be sitting with my top high profile client and I would talk exactly like this.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that confidence comes from being comfortable with who you are. If
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly trying to fit in to these different social groups and you act a different way, people don't trust you. They don't know who you are. The trust is never there, and that's the basics of everything. You want to have a good friendship, there's got to be that trust there. And it
Mm.
starts with just be yourself. You do it, right? I think
Mm.
most of our friends that we hang around with, they do that.
Yeah.
And they probably can't do that with everybody. But the more people you surround yourself with, that you can just be yourself, I
Mm.
think the happier you'll be and the more you'll feel like you belong anywhere.
Do you think people in Thailand lack like being humble enough? towards one another?
There's a kind of
Unfiltered, Aman's
yeah
unfiltered.
yeah a kind of competitiveness.
Okay.
All right. So, and I think that has probably come from previous generations, all right, where the dinner table conversation is about, oh, this family is now doing this, or their son is doing that. I mean, Indian people, we always have done that, right?
Yeah,
Your friend's son has
compare. Yeah.
become a doctor, all right? This one's become a lawyer, all right? You would hear about that at home.
What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. What are you going to do, all right? Um, and I think that here has probably been about success, right? Who's become more successful. So it's not about which career do they have, previous generations, but how much money have they made? Oh, they bought a hotel. They bought a hotel. How big is theirs? Or is theirs on a subsoil or is on Sukhumvit Road? Like, these kind of conversations have probably impacted the kids, that they also now feel this need as adults to compare themselves.
Do you think our like our parents' generation and the our grandparents' generation lacked of explaining how important it is for you to be content?
Yeah,
100%, right?
definitely,
Because
definitely.
even I
Yeah,
feel this the
yeah,
same way.
yeah, big time. And for us, and it's not Indians in particular in Australia, but just like Australians, you probably don't want to be the most successful person in the room. All right,
Why?
you'll get teased. Like
Really?
I remember my richest friend from school, right? People used to tease him, right, because he was super rich, right? And
Wow.
like, I mean, everyone else was also quite wealthy, right? I went to school in an expensive neighborhood, so these kids were all, living pretty well. But being the richest one wasn't like he was the most popular one. People would tease you
Pick
because
on you.
yeah, your life was too easy. You had too much money.
Over years, like
Yeah,
if
like
you're
we would make a joke like, "Oh, where are we going to go for drinks?" Right? And we say, "Okay, we're going to go to this pub." Go, oh, is he going to come? Is it fancy enough for him? Right?
or,
Yeah, yeah. And he was
wow.
the most
Oh.
humble. And that's the thing. Like you've met some of my friends from Australia when they come
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't remember what some of them do for work, right? Because we don't judge people on that. It's always there. I find it's about character, right?
Mm.
How good are you socially? Do you make people laugh? People have a good time around you? You'll be very popular. Yeah,
I'm gonna part this podcast with one question
sure.
because this just hit my mind and I've been wanting to ask you this.
Mm,
Okay, so you've done events. You know where I'm going.
mm.
Do you know where I'm going with
No.
this question? Okay.
Oh, I know where you're going. Yeah,
Okay, brilliant.
yeah.
So you've done events in Australia as an Indian in Australia, and we've done events here in Bangkok. In the events industry, what differences do you see between these two communities?
Okay. So we used to have a saying there: friends don't ask for guest list. All right,
Right,
because and my personal philosophy on this is right. If you are asking a favor from a friend, all right, let's talk about Rajiv for example. All
right.
right, he's a doctor. All right, so if I need some medical stuff, I will go and see him and I'll pay him. All right, because he's a doctor. That's his core business. If I need a hand to move house, all right, I could call him and be like, bro, can you give me a hand? Of course we wouldn't because we have movers and drivers and maids and nannies and stuff. All right. But let's say none of that was there. You could call a friend and say, hey, I need a hand to move house.
Yeah,
And, I'll buy a case of beer and we'll have dinner together and you kind of help each other. So I think
right.
favors should not relate to someone's business. All right.
Mm,
Now, asking even for a discount, okay, if they're giving discounts, fine. But you've done it quite often. We've had events on sale, and you've been the first person to buy a ticket. And even though I'm, one of the owners of the company, I don't get a message from you saying, "Hey, can you get me a free ticket for this?"
no.
You do ask when the tickets go on sale,
Yeah.
all right, and then vice versa. Sometimes I message you and go, "I got free tickets. Don't buy this one." Like, all right. So I think that's a big difference here. We and also the buying behavior. The people keep talking about Thailand being an event hub, all right, and bringing in more and more content here. And we have certain challenges. We have a lot of strengths here as well. But for the wider community, the only advice I could give is if you like an event or you think people are doing a good job, buy the tickets early, all right, because that helps the industry overall
Mm,
and things grow. Don't wait, because it's around the corner and there's
yeah.
so many options in Bangkok, and because the price is not too expensive for you. Don't wait till the end because that is the worst thing you can do to a promoter.
Yeah, because it puts us at the edge,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Okay. This has been fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right. So there you guys have it. That was Vinod Kumar from, sorry, let me get this straight again. Co owner of Megatix, regional director
Yeah, for Asia. Yep.
for Asia, and married to my beautiful sister, living here for 11 years.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything on your last call?
I
All
hope I haven't
good?
offended anybody.
Oh, trust me, you haven't offended a soul. I wish you had.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on. Bye,
Thanks, Aman.
Vin.
See you.
See you.